This is not a how-to video, I just want to show you how intimate and embarrassing self-portraiture can be. So hello everyone, it's your Baro here, and thanks for watching the first lengthy video of this channel. I really hope you enjoy this journey. Location. Yes, location is just as important as the shoot itself. But yeah, I'll give you a little context. So last year, my family and I moved far away from the city to this rural area. And we have a river next to the house we are living in. It's just a 10-minute walk.
It's just like a 10-minute walk.
See? I told you. But I'm actually interested in the beach right next to the river. Not the river in itself.
Look at that. That's beautiful. I think I should have probably brought a mirror.
This might sound a bit silly, but I needed to bring everything with me. It's only a 10-minute walk, but if I left anything behind, I would have needed to stop the shooting, pack everything up, go back home, and then return to the location.
Look at that. That's beautiful.
With that said,
so in this bag, I have 2 coats that I think will go with the whole color scheme of the photo shoot.
I have never planned a self-portrait session before, but I really wanted to do something special, and for this shoot, I got heavily inspired by this color scheme. So I really wanted this reddish or this brownish color to be the protagonist, and I don't have anything like that. So I went through my grandma's closet and borrowed something.
They're not mine, they're my grandma's.
That's what I said.
You know, women dress the best way. We need to learn from them. Right.
After that 10-minute walk,
It's just like a 10-minute walk.
I finally made it to the beach and started to unpack all of the mini bags I was carrying. Some of the few things I brought with me include this lovely reddish fabric, which I really like because it matches the color scheme. You know the one. And of course, I also needed to bring the tripod, the camera, and the camera lenses.
Alright, so when I was still at home, I decided I was gonna use the 50mm lens, because if I use this other one, I'll have to get further and further and further from the camera.
So that was a big lie. I ended up using that very first lens I showed you. And that was an 85 prime lens that I barely use when shooting at myself because you need more space. I always shoot at home, but now there's plenty of space and I did not notice that at the beginning. You might laugh. That's what I get for choosing to wear white pants. Anyway, we finally made it to the photo shoot. And believe me, taking self-portraits is no quick task. You'll need to set up the camera, ensure the tripod is stable, and try to predict where you'll be in the frame. It involves a lot of trial and error, and I have often wished for a copy of myself to make things run smoother, but the beauty of self-portraits is precisely the fact that it is not simple, but it is also very rewarding. We are starting with the first photo. I really wanted to take it by this wall. It really caught my eye. In fact, it was the only shot I had envisioned from the very beginning. I wanted to capture the sharp contrast between the man-made wall and the natural greenery in the background, and to emphasize this idea further, I chose to drape the reddish fabric over the wall, making it pop against the greens. And yes, this is the first time you're seeing Grandma's brown coat in action. I started by recording myself to get a preliminary view of how the picture would look, and to fine-tune the setup. After tweaking a few things here and there, I got the framing to look just right. But even then, I could not get the shot I thought of as perfect. No matter how many times I tried, I just could not get the image I had in mind. So, this is the final result. It isn't exactly what I had hoped for, but it's not a disappointment either. I see it as a valuable learning experience. Every shot teaches me something new, and this one reminded me that not every photo has to be perfect to be meaningful. I'm considering returning to this spot for another photo shoot in the future. Maybe next time I'll capture something truly special. I really like how the sun filtered through the trees, casting intricate shadows on the sand, so I laid the fabric down to capture the same contrast we saw in the first picture. Feeling this was an ideal setup for our next photo, as usual I went over to try out a few poses. After a while, I realized the camera wasn't angled high enough to include my face, so I went back to adjust the camera settings and its position, and that's when I decided that this setup was better suited for a vertical shot. I found myself going back and forth a few times because none of the poses I tried felt quite right. I wanted to make better use of the space within the frame, but figuring out how to do that was very tricky. Every time I adjusted my pose even slightly, my head would end up way too high in the shot, and whenever I managed to stretch my legs to the bottom edge of the frame, my whole body would appear too low. It was a bit of a balancing act. In the end, we got this photo as a final result, and I am still not happy with the results I'm getting. Don't get me wrong, I do like this picture, but it feels like I'm just standing there, trying to look good, but not really pushing any boundaries. So I really had to remind myself what the purpose of this photo shoot was. I really wanted to try something different, but found myself falling into the usual routine during the self-portrait shoot. So I switched locations and experimented with the fabric, hoping to capture some of its movement in the shots. Unfortunately, I wasn't successful. Being both the subject and the photographer made it really hard to know where I was in the frame most of the time. So eventually, I abandoned that idea. But believe me, I really wanted to make it work. I tried out a few more things. I switched to the second comb I borrowed from my grandma, a striking red one, and I thought it might stand out enough to let me leave out the fabric from the shot. The coat looked fantastic. Although I managed to position myself well in the frame for the third time, I still felt like I wasn't pushing myself enough, so I made more changes. I took off my shirt, and then I took off the coat. This might not seem like a big deal, but it's a huge milestone for me. I've struggled with my body image for as long as I can remember. Growing up as a chubby kid, I was often bullied, which left a lasting impression even after I thinned down. As I grew taller and became slimmer, I gained confidence, and I started to truly enjoy life. However, during the pandemic, following a tough breakup, I gained quite a bit of weight, and since then, I've been trying to work hard to lose it. And this year, 2024, I have made several promises to myself and have already lost a significant amount of weight. I'm not yet where I want to be, but I'm learning to embrace the journey, and I'm even posing shirtless in some unconventional ways. This is the only photo of the series that doesn't show the red fabric or the red coat, and at some point I thought that was a mistake. But I am now learning that maybe this is the story I was supposed to be telling all along. You see, there's not really a right way to do photography. Once you grasp the basics, it's all about following your instincts and capturing what draws you in. I've always been captivated by portrait photography. Looking through the lens, I felt a deep connection with people. And self-portraiture was just a natural extension of this, a way to connect with myself. However, I gradually stopped photographing other people and lost touch not only with them, but with myself. I began living a life I no longer wanted, and it manifested in various ways. I stopped taking photos, the longest break I've ever taken, and abandoned the piano and singing. Those were activities that brought joy and vibrancy to my life. These weren't just hobbies, they were vital parts of my existence, and without them, I lost my curiosity and my ability to effectively communicate with the world. Reconnecting with these things is more than just a mere return to the old habits. Each photo I take, every note I play, and every song I sing helps me get back to myself. It's about more than just finding my voice again. It's about reaffirming my place in the world and embracing my expressive, curious nature that defines me. This is the last photo in the series, and it's my favorite. It often turns out this way for me. At the start of every shoot, especially when working with someone else, there's a noticeable shyness. Neither of us is quite ready to fully open up. But as the session progresses and we start liking what we see, the atmosphere changes. Everyone begins to relax, and a real sense of collaboration emerges. We become more creative, experimenting with ideas that we might have not initially considered. There's a lot of teamwork, with everyone contributing and pitching ideas, which brings the dynamic energy to the shot. For this final shot, I didn't do anything groundbreaking. I simply captured a moment that felt right. This last picture works because it's real. It shows the results of all the previous efforts, every tweak and new idea that ever happened during the video. And that it's my favorite because it captures the whole experience. Thanks for following along. Each shot taught me something new, not just about photography, but also about myself. As we wrap up, I'm looking forward to what comes next, ready to take on new challenges and keep pushing my limits. Thank you.